Hello everyone, and welcome back. I am so happy you tuned in tonight. I'm also very excited. This will be one of my very first videos on my channel. So if you like this video, please do not forget to subscribe. So in this video I want to share with you a gentle but magical story while I paint a beautiful page from this coloring book. You'll also hear the sound of rain and water in the background, soft and healing, like nature's own lullaby. I think the left one is just perfect for tonight's story. So, the story begins with a forest no human could ever fully enter. A forest that shimmered in twilight as if it existed between dream and waking. In that forest lived a woman. Some called her a fairy, others thought she was the guardian of the trees. But the creatures of the forest knew better. She was more than a name. She was the very heart of the forest. Her green eyes glowed like deep green moss after the rain, and her hair felt like a river of midnight. Whenever she walked, flowers leaned toward her as though greeting an old friend. She spoke little, but when she hummed or sang, the very air trembled, and the leaves whispered back in harmony. The woman lived in almost perfect peace. Each morning she touched the buds of the flowers, and they opened beneath her fingertips. She followed the wind, listened to the birds, and carried within her calmness that spread through the entire woodland. Yet even here, in this enchanted world of blossoms and song, there were moments of heaviness. At times, silence would descend over the forest. No bird sang, no leaf stirred. The silence carried away like an invisible mist drifting between the trees. The woman could feel it. She could feel the forest forest breathing slower, heavier. She would lay her hands on the ground, close her eyes, and whisper softly, "It is allowed, even the darkness belongs here." Deep within, she knew that light and shadows were part of the same song, and still, she sometimes wondered, was gentleness truly enough? Could silence, patience, and calmness really heal? One evening, as the sun sank behind the trees and painted the sky in shades of violet, she discovered a flower unlike any she had ever seen. Its petals were grey, drained of color, drooping toward the earth. She looked as though the flower had lost the will to live. She kneeled beside it. "Why are you so quiet?" she asked, though she knew flowers had no words. But she believed every being in the forest carried a language, even if it was hard to hear. She touched the flower gently, and for a moment she thought she felt a trembling deep within it. A doubt stirred in her heart. What if her calmness was not enough? What if her gentle ways could not save it? But then she remembered what the forest had always taught her, that healing does not come from force, but from patience. So she stayed with the flower. She sang softly, not to command it, but to change it, but simply to share her presence. Her voice was hardly more than a hum, but the earth responded with the finest vibration. She remained there hours after hours, as the moon rose high and the stars emerged above the trees. Slowly something began to change. At first it was barely visible, but with time it grew clearer. A subtle glow spread across the petals. Not suddenly, not like a miracle that bursts forth in an instant, but gently, tenderly, like morning dew forming on leaves at dawn. The petals slowly gathered color, faint pink at first, then deeper with each breath. The woman smiled, not because she had achieved something, but because she understood it was not her power that restored the flower. It was her patience, her gentleness, her willingness to stay. "Now I see," she whispered. "It is not always action that heals, but the simple act of being present." When the flower finally opened fully, something unexpected appeared at its heart. Instead of a common blossom, she saw a mandala growing with delicate patterns, circles, spirals, floral shapes, entwining one another. And in the center of the mandala, she saw a face, her own face. The woman looked into the flower and recognized herself. Green eyes, dark hair, surrounded by floral ornaments. It was as if the forest had offered her a mirror showing her that every gesture of calmness, every quiet song, every tender act had been part of a greater design. A mandala slowly unfolding from her very being. She understood that when she was not only guardian of the forest, she was a part of the forest itself. She was part of the pattern that bound everything together, and the calm she carried was not only the flowers, but for all who might one day hear her story. The forest awoke again. Birds lifted their voices, leaves danced in the night air, and even the wine began to play a soft melody. It was as though her realization had touched every corner of the woodland. From that day forward, she no longer doubted. She knew, no, that strength did not need to shout. Gentleness was not weakness. Calmness was not emptiness. They were powers, quiet, steady powers, that could bring life back into bloom. Each day after that, she wandered deeper into the forest, exploring hidden glades and secret streams she had never noticed before. Ferns brushed against her fingertips, and ever so often a curious fox or timid deer would peek from behind a tree, watching her with gentle eyes. She began to notice the smallest details, the pattern of moss on a stone, the rhythm of a bird's song, the way sunlight spilled through the leaves and golden threads. The forest seemed to respond to her presence, breathing in harmony with her own call. One evening, as the twilight painted the sky in dusky shades of lavender and rose, she discovered a hidden pond. Its surface was perfectly still, reflecting the trees and the stars above like a mirror. She knelt beside it, fascinated by how the world could be both quiet and alive at the same time. She dipped her hands into the water, and tiny ripples carried the reflection outward, transforming the mirrored stars into fleeting, sparkling lights. She realized that even the smallest gesture, just being present, could create gentle waves of change. Days passed, and the forest seemed to awaken in ways she had never imagined. Flowers bloomed in unlikely spaces, streams found new courses, and even the wines seemed to carry laughter, soft and musical. The woman began to notice other creatures drawn to her presence, not just the animals she had always known, but the magical beings she had only heard of in whispered tales. Tiny glowing lights, like living fireflies, hovered around her. Shapes of delicate wings flitted between the trees. These beings did not speak with words, but she felt their gratitude, their trust, and their curiosity. One night, as the moon hung low and silver in the sky, she followed a faint trail of glowing moss to a small clearing she had never seen. In the center stood a tree unlike any other. Its trunk twisted elegantly, and its leaves shimmered with a subtle inner light. Nestled among its roots was a tiny seedling, barely taller than her head, yet glowing faintly with a soft pink hue. She sensed that it held something extraordinary, an energy that could only grow with care and patience. She crouched beside it, murmuring gently words of encouragement. "Grow slowly, little one. There is no rush. I will stay with you." Night after night she returned to that seedling, singing to it softly, sharing her warmth and quiet strength. Slowly, day by day, it grew taller, its roots burrowing deep into the leaves reaching for the sky. The forest seemed to lean in, as if celebrating the life that blossomed from patient attention. But the forest, as always, held its shadows alongside the light. One evening, a sudden chill swept through the trees, and the fog rolled in, thick and heavy. The woman felt a tremor of unease. Somewhere in the mist, a shadow stirred, a presence of doubt, fear, or sadness. She stood still, allowing herself to feel the unease before resistance. The shadow did not attack, it simply waited, testing her patience and calm. And she remembered the flower, the gray petals she had once nurtured. She remembered the lesson it had quiet strength, presence, gentleness. With a steady breath, she walked towards the shadow, her hands open, her voice soft. "It is allowed," she whispered. "Even you are welcome here." Slowly the fog began to shift, swirling around her, and then rising towards the tree trunks. From the shadow emerged a figure, not threatening, but sorrowful, a mirror of her own doubts and fears. She knelt, offering the same compassion she had given the flower. "You are seen. You are allowed to be here. You are part of the world's balance." The figure softened, its edges blurring until it dissolved into sparkling light, leaving the forest calm and once more. She realized that even the shadows had a purpose: to teach patience, understanding, and the gentle strength of remaining present amidst uncertainty. In the following days, the forest seemed to breathe in a new rhythm. Streams sparkled with clear light, flowers opened brighter, and hidden glades revealed their gentle wonders. The woman wandered among them, noticing the tiniest details, the way sunlight filtered through leaves, how petals curved delicately, how a bird's song carried across the still air. Each moment reminded her that presence, even quiet and unassuming, could shape the world in subtle, beautiful ways. She understood a deeper truth. Healing was not something to impose, but a presence to offer. Patience, gentleness, and quiet attention were not weakness, but they were powers, capable of restoring balance and beauty wherever they reached. With that, she continued her quiet journey through the forest, a guardian and a companion to every living thing, carrying hope and calm wherever she went. Perhaps when one pauses to notice, they could also feel the gentle, enduring magic of her presence, and remember that even the smallest act of care can bloom into something extraordinary. Thank you for watching.